Welcome back to Play On Gamers, the podcast where we talk way too long about video games. I'm back with my partner in crime and one of my best friends, Ben Silverman. Ben, what's up, buddy?
Yariv, happy Switch Pro Day. Everything we ever wanted got announced. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Can't wait to talk about it, break down all those new features, extra speed. Man, it's going to be great.
I'll be honest with you, I still want one.
Oh, you're a sucker, though.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. This is what happens when you don't have children, Ben. You just spend your money on
I'm never having kids.
Yeah, right. All right, let's get into it. We do have this probably be one of our shorter episodes, but at least we have enough to talk about. And well, I'm sure we're gonna miss some kind of cool news from PlayStation. But as we record this tomorrow, there will be a state of play, so we'll get into that a little bit too. All right. Let's get into the first thing, Dead Space. We brought this up last time. Dead Space is going to have a full remake, which has been announced, which is really awesome. I personally am very excited about it in the sense that I feel like I'm not missing out, and maybe, it's kind of good that I didn't get to play the original. Having said that, we'll see what kind of, game it turns out to be. We're still waiting for the official announcement on it, but initially last week we were talking about maybe it was going to be a package of the three, and they just kind of remastered them. But it looks like they really just want to bring the entire property back to life. They probably saw what went well with Square Enix, with Capcom. Doing Resident Evil, and they obviously hit a big home run with their remake. And considering this is a similar genre, maybe they see a similar opportunity. Ben, as a avid fan of the franchise, are you getting what you wanted here?
Yeah, it sounds like it. I think it's directly related to what Capcom did with Resident Evil 2. I never played any of those early Resident Evil games up until I played 4, 5, skipped 6, never played 7 or 8. But I played straight through Resident Evil 2 HD. Straight through it. Loved it. It was very good.
It's very
so if we get half of what they did with that, I think we're in for a treat. I talked last time about the original Dead Space and survival horror, all that stuff. They're on the right track, I think. This hasn't been officially confirmed, but I think it's as close to confirmed as you can get without being confirmed. I mean, Jeff Grubb has been talking about this on every podcast you can get him on. I don't think he'll come on ours, but every place he's been, he's talking about Jeffy Grubb goes and talking about everything. But this is apparently the worst kept secret in the gaming industry. Everyone's knew this was coming. I'm excited for it. Motive's doing it. They did Battlefront 2. They did a good job. Battlefront 2 was well received. The only issue with Battlefront 2 was the microtransaction stuff. Sure. Everyone loved the game.
Yep.
The storyline was okay. But I'm excited. I'm pumped for it. I think you'll play it. I think you'll like it.
Well, let me ask you this. It's making me think something since they did Battlefront 2. Do you think that this will have a multiplayer element? No. Not microtransactions, but...
No, I think we're going to see similar to what they did. This is EA, so they did the Mass Effect trilogy remaster and skipped Mass Effect 3's multiplayer. I don't think they're willing to put... resources into a multiplayer game that's not making them continuous money.
Yeah.
So, if there is a multiplayer version, I think we have something to be worried about.
Yep.
Because I don't know what they're gonna do. But even Dead Space 3 with its co-op, there was no competitive multiplayer.
Right.
I don't think Dead Space 1 works with co-op, so I don't see how you can do it unless they remake the whole game.
Do you think they're remaking it to just because of the sheer fact that you can go on another level with the graphics? If you look at Resident Evil 2, that game was the remake. It was gorgeous, beautiful game, and incredibly immersive. Dead Space is not that old, but I guess the first one is pretty dated at this point. You think that's why? Yeah, I was gonna say, do you think that's why they're going with it? Because by the time they get this game out, I mean, the level of fidelity and just lighting alone, and lighting is huge for horror. I mean, let's be honest, like the ability to go pitch dark, and to have some fuckery on screen, when you're talking about graphics. I mean, they can do a lot of really interesting stuff at this point and really take advantage of the new hardware. Do you think that's a reason?
Yeah, it's 13 years old at this point. So Not just that, but a lot of the time and resources that come into to making a game, like I say, as I'm a game maker, I would have to assume is in pre-production, uh, storyboarding, uh, concept art, like
Right.
planning out, mapping everything out. It's all done.
Yep.
They just have to take the game and remake it in a new engine, just remake it in a new engine. Um,
It'll be Frostbite,
it's got,
right?
I mean, they've kind of relaxed on the requirement of having to do Frostbite with everything. Jedi Fallen Order wasn't a Frostbite, but uh, it's got to cut that production time in half. Having the game mapped out for you already and built, and story beats and voice acting, all that stuff's already done. Well, there's not much voice acting in Dead Space, but yeah, I think remake it a new engine, whatever new engine they make. They have plenty of shooter engines to choose from. So
Yeah. Well, I think it's a great way to bring the franchise back rather than just do a rehashed version of the older game. I feel like going with it in this length, it's a great way to capture people like myself. Like even we were both playing Mass Effect. I think we both backed off of it a little bit, but not because it's not.
We'll get back to it.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think also it felt dated. You know what I mean? Like it does feel dated when you're playing it and you're like, I'll talk about it a little later, obviously, but I just like Last of Us 2. It just like as soon as I started playing the gameplay of it, I just got hooked. And, they have an opportunity there because the franchise, I feel like never really lived up to the impact that it had within its hardcore audience. And this is like a better way to kind of go at it again.
Yeah, I'm surprised at how, I guess maybe not surprised, but it was a great game. It was a great franchise, and it just never hit the way some other survival horror games hit. Maybe it came out the wrong time. I mean, it released in October, which is prime video game time. I don't know what it was, but it was a solid game all around. I don't remember the gripes people had with it.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember why I didn't play it. Like I literally think back, I'm like, because we were talking about it last time, I was like, I don't like the game sounds right up my alley, and for some reason I never played it.
You were in college.
Yeah, it's my stupid days. Yeah. All right, let's move on to I guess the biggest news we have to talk about right now. This was the big out of nowhere announcement, one that for some reason they didn't want to announce around E3, and they felt that doing it on a random Monday, coming back from a holiday, Tuesday. I'm sorry. Yeah, right after 4th of July holiday, that they thought, let's just, with no anticipation and nobody seeing this coming at all. Which
nobody's upset. It's everything everybody wanted.
Yeah, exactly. Which is, you think about it, it's maybe that's why they announced it this way. But Nintendo launches a trailer and a preview of their new OLED Nintendo Switch. And let's correct that. They do not say Switch Pro. A lot of people are still saying, oh, this is the new Pro, but they obviously are not even marketing it as that. The OLED version, we got a new stand, new OLED display. They have the new color. They have better enhanced audio, which they haven't really interpreted in any kind of way. They have updates to the dock, more venting. They have a direct Ethernet input, which is nice, -1 USB. And then they also have larger storage. I think they doubled it from 32 gigs to 64 gigs, which I would say that's actually a good feature. And it also comes in at $349.99, so more expensive than the original version. Which I think is actually the most surprising aspect, is that they're charging more for this, which I don't really understand. But yeah, no faster processor, no more additional RAM. Essentially,
why would you do that? 5 years into a console.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it's a complete not even a half step, it's a quarter step into the console. Just a nice iteration, and from what I understand, doesn't fix the drift problem. Which a lot of people are experiencing. I experienced with my Switch. So yeah, here it comes.
You sure you want my thoughts on this?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it comes out I think October 8th, right alongside Metroid Dread as well. So obviously they want to coincide the release. It even had it in the trailer itself. I will say, look, ultimately these are enhancements that probably should have been available 2 years ago, after they released the console and realized that these were simple enhancements that just make it a better console overall. but it's clearly not meant to be a next gen console in any kind of way.
They included Bluetooth audio in this, right? So you can use Bluetooth headphones.
I don't believe so.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah. Why would you do that?
That's actually a great point. I didn't even think about that until you talked about that. Because why would you need
a portable console? Yeah, nobody wants to do that.
Why are they charging $50 more for this? And go ahead,
the OLED screen.
You.
All right, I've been waiting on load. I've been waiting on load.
Yeah.
So it's the Nintendo Switch parentheses OLED model end parentheses. That's how they're marketing it. Not the new Nintendo Switch, not the Nintendo Switch Pro. I will refer to it as Nintendo Switch parentheses OLED model parentheses.
Yeah.
The 7-inch OLED. I think we called that. We knew that
slightly bigger display.
Bigger display,
6.2,
smaller bezel,
7. Yeah.
Same exact size console. We knew it was coming. New dock. The dock will work with the old Switch. It's the same USB-C port.
Yes.
Same exact size.
I think the HDMI might be slightly newer version potentially. I think I might.
Still going to connect to the same USB-C port.
Right. That's a great point.
There is nothing about this console besides the screen that could not be achieved with a third-party adapter. They took away a USB port and gave you an Ethernet port. You know what also takes away a USB port and gives you an Ethernet port? A USB Ethernet adapter, which is what everyone uses. Good. They gave you an extra 32 gigs of internal storage. A 32 gigabyte micro SD card is like $6.
Yep.
Enhanced audio. If you're playing Switch with your speakers on the train, you're a douchebag. Like, use headphones. I cannot believe this is this is why they didn't announce it during E3. This is exactly why, because this is all people would have been talking about is how they screwed up.
Yeah,
and they had a killer E3. They had a killer showcase on Tuesday. On that Tuesday, showed off Metroid. They showed off all kinds of awesome stuff. This would have killed it. Kickstand's nice, but
it's the best feature so far. I mean, I like the OLED screen.
But the OLED's going to be great. OLED screens are great. The Vita had an amazing screen, and they actually went the opposite way with the Vita. Right. They had the OLED screen, and they went to the LCD because it saved money. The kickstand, I replaced the kickstand on my Switch. That was the biggest design flaw in the original Switch. Yes. Great. I mean, that's a cool feature. The console's 5 years old. It needs a refresh. It cannot keep up with current games. No new Wi-Fi chip. The Wi-Fi in these things is notoriously bad. You can't even do game streaming on this thing reliably because of how bad the Wi-Fi chipset is in this. Cool. It's got a new color. I don't know why I'm surprised that Nintendo did this, to be honest. Like, these are the ones that did the 2DS and the new 2DS and
yeah, but the new 2DS, it had a better processor.
It did. I don't know whether maybe they planned on doing something different, the chip shortage screwed them up.
But they can't, because they make these decisions like they must have made a decision years. Like a year ago.
Years. They should have come out 6 months ago and said, we're working on a redesign. It is not a Switch Pro. It's just different materials, different whatever. You've got this great 7-inch OLED screen, no Netflix, no media viewing at all outside of Hulu. They killed Netflix on the older consoles, on the 3DS and the Wii U and all that stuff. No more Netflix over there. So you're definitely not getting it on the Switch. I think this is a huge miss. People are going to buy it. It's going to sell like gangbusters. They're going to make millions and millions of dollars.
That's just it. I'm going to buy one.
That's how it's like. I'm saying it's a piece of shit and it's the terrible decision. They're going to make so much money off this thing. I just think it's
no. Go ahead and finish.
I think it's just a miss. Double the RAM, extra processor. You're not going to be able to keep up with modern ports. Doom, you get Doom on there. Bethesda's porting their games over to this platform. How are you going to run like a port of the next Elder Scrolls on this?
Doesn't it make you think that maybe they have a new console upcoming in a couple of years then? And this is really just to hold them over?
I don't think we needed to be held over. They're selling. The Switch is selling out. Everyone's buying every Switch on the shelf.
Agreed.
Why do this? This has to be.
My only guess is that maybe they make more money off this console. You know, they can justify the $50 increase. Because, like, why is it even more expensive? Just the OLED?
The OLED screens. The OLED screens,
a whole $50 more?
Maybe right now with the cost of materials and technology and procuring them. I don't know. I know they don't lose money on consoles. They're the
Right.
only ones of the three that sell at a profit. So maybe their margins are $50 per console, and that's that they had to increase by. What do you think, Yariv?
Look, I think it's extremely disappointing. I like all the enhancements, I do, but it's not a new console. It's like if you don't have a Switch, this is the Switch to buy. But if you have a Switch, there's almost no reason for you to buy that. Especially, and Spawnwave was saying this, and I agree with him. This console, the redesign, the benefits are for mobile users. Like the benefits that you really get
Right.
from this,
Yeah.
if you have it docked, you're not going to benefit from it at all.
Yeah, you can buy a $12. So I bought a $12 USB-C
Yeah.
docking station on Amazon. It's got
Yeah.
HDMI, it's got power, it's got Ethernet, it's got everything. I used it on my Switch for a long time. That did exactly what this dock is doing. They're screwing people that play on the TV.
Yeah,
I mean, not screwing them. They don't have to buy this.
they just
will.
they just don't give them anything. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, for me, it's like I like the bigger display. I mean, I like the OLED.
It's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah. That's like literally I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's only worth it to me if I sell my Switch and pay whatever the $100 difference for the upgrade. But that's just because I have extra income, But for other people who don't have money, and I don't mean like poor, but like they don't have like extra income to throw $100 on a marginal upgrade. There's really no reason. They have to just be thinking like, hey, demand for this console is still high. We're gonna make another one, and we're just gonna extend
and make more money on it.
Yeah. I mean, that's just what it seems like. It looks cool. Like I don't think any of the upgrades are like, oh, that makes it worse. But again, these are all upgrades to the console that probably should have happened after the first year. Kind of something like nothing in here is revolutionary. Outside, if it didn't have the OLED screen, there's no benefit. There's like it wouldn't even sell. Like you wouldn't even tell people it's an upgrade. You would just say we just switched the manufacturing of the Switch and here it is. It's really just a display. I mean, even the trailer, that was like the big thing. Like even the dock, like you can buy it. You could probably just add it as an attachment. Be like, oh, we have an attachment for what's it called? For a stand. Yeah, it was pretty disappointing overall. Which
You're gonna buy it.
I probably will, yeah. For no reason, too.
The
only reason I would buy it is honestly in preparation for not Skyward Sword, but preparation for Breath of the Wild 2.
Just for those of you that think maybe Nintendo just didn't talk about the internal upgrades, they have since confirmed there is no RAM or processor upgrades in this thing. Right. So that conspiracy theory is out the window.
Yeah, no.
They just weren't going to say it. No.
Well, the one thing I was thinking about with the drift, I think there's a lawsuit against them for the drift. And that was the one thing where I was like, maybe they're not mentioning any changes for the Joy-Con because they don't want to admit publicly that there was an issue with it.
They've already done that. They repair them for free.
Yeah.
If you have drift. So
that's a good point.
And the Joy-Con are identical because they have to be compatible because the console is the same size.
Everything is compatible, right? Yeah.
Of course it is. Same console.
It's the exact same console. It's not even.
It's the reverse Vita. They did the reverse Vita.
Yeah.
They went from the Vita went from a great screen to a shit screen halfway through. No internal upgrades. And
now after you mentioned the Bluetooth thing, I'm like so severely disappointed after you just said that because I
have an adapter. I have a USB-C adapter that goes on the bottom of my Switch that gives me Bluetooth audio.
Oh man, I actually need one of those.
That'd be great if it was inside the console.
Yeah,
it's not. Clearly, it's not. So.
And that, how long have we had Bluetooth inside of mobile devices?
I have my Motorola Crazer in the garage that I'm going to trade into T-Mobile.
I'm not gonna lie, it is actually really confusing that this is the decision that they made. They had, like you said, they had to have known that this was gonna be disappointing for people. Like people are laughing at them right now, which they've been like hitting home runs. So it's not like Nintendo was like, oh, we haven't been doing well. Maybe it's a move they just thought they could get away with. They're like, yeah.
And they will get away with it. But people are laughing at them, but they're going to be swimming in money like Scrooge McDuck. They don't care.
Yeah. These will
Laugh at them
sell
all
like
you want.
crazy.
They're
for
going to sell out.
Christmas.
Oh my God.
They're going to be impossible to find. I was actually thinking about calling GameStop today to be like, can I pre-order this already? And I have a feeling it's already going to be gone. I'm going to go and pre-order it. I'm going to get one.
You can go on Nintendo and pre-order the Nintendo Switch parentheses OLED model and parentheses for $349.99. Yeah, you can pre-order.
God, I'm so stupid for even wanting one. Nintendo gets me like this every time, dude. I don't know how they do it to me. Like I see their products and I go, oh yeah, I want that. Like every Zelda game, I'm like, oh, it's my least favorite Zelda coming out. I'm buying it day one.
Well, I mean, the shittiest Zelda game still a good Zelda game. So.
Yeah, but yeah, they do it to us again. I guess I want to see the OLED, like the difference in the visual. Like maybe the games just look better because it's on the OLED screen. But again, on my display, it's not going to matter.
I think you're going to see the opposite. Actually, I think similar to how if you watch like Star Trek
4K.
Yeah, like an old episode of Star Trek Next Generation that they upscaled to 4K. They took the original and remastered it, and you see all the like shit uniforms and like all the imperfections. Like, I think increasing the screen without increasing any of the resolution is a problem.
So let me ask you this: so we're 5 years into the Switch. They're not
5 years.
Is it 5?
Yeah, 5 years.
Yeah, and so it's 5. Yeah, right. 5 years in. And they're not in it. Is it 5 or is it 4? It was in 2017. I think it's 4 years. I think it was 2017.
March 3rd, 2017.
So what is
4
that?
years. 4 years.
4 years.
Yep, you're right.
So 4 years in, let's say this
I take it all back. 4 years.
Oh okay. Yeah. It's all good now.
Yep, we're good.
So how much longer does this extend the life of the Switch?
3 years. 3 or 4 years. I mean, that's how long. What the Xbox One and PS4.
Typically,
but they had a halfway. I think they went for 7, right?
Yeah, and then PlayStation released their Pro, and Microsoft did a ridiculous amount of.
They went for 7
redesigns. So you're probably right, and that probably means we're not going to get the next Switch or whatever it's going to be for another 3 years.
I think that means we don't get any AAA games that aren't made by Nintendo for another 3 years. I can't see anybody being able to like you.
We're not getting next gen games.
Yeah, or current gen. I mean, they ported Subnautica Below Zero is a game that I really enjoy. The original Subnautica. They ported both of them to the Switch, and somehow they run. But I think I don't see how you can do anything more than that.
Like you're not doing anything that's coming out for Xbox, like any maybe they're kind of banking on that. They're like, yeah, well, the industry doesn't really have any exclusives anymore for next gen consoles. I mean, you look at what PlayStation's doing with all the director cuts, and
I would think they were doing like a streaming thing, but they have the shittiest Wi-Fi chip in history inside of this.
But now they have an Ethernet cable, so now you can do it while you're plugged in at home, Ben.
Yeah, that's what people want to do with gaming,
which they already could have done.
Yeah.
No, it's confusing. I would say it looks nice. I like the color and all that.
Yeah, looks great.
Let me ask you this: if it was $300 flat, and it wasn't an increase in cost, do you think that would be more tenable? Because then it's like not even a new. Oh, it's just like we're just redesigning our.
Yes, if they discontinued the other or dropped it significantly, and didn't make a big deal about this, just said one day we're swapping the models, just like Vita did. Vita, I keep going back to Vita, but they stopped selling the OLED model.
Yeah.
And they said, this is the new Vita. It's cheaper for us to make. It's thinner. This is it. We're not making the old one anymore. This is it.
Yeah.
Same price, same everything.
And Nintendo didn't announce a discontinuation of the older model, right?
No, you can buy it. Still on their website.
Yeah.
I know. It has both of them right above each other. You have, Nintendo Switch, and then right above it, Nintendo Switch parentheses OLED model parentheses white set. So.
Oh my God, it's so confusing. It's so confusing. I just don't get it. But here it is, and I'll probably buy one.
Yeah, so. They're getting your shekels.
Yeah, they always do, man. They always do. Maybe they'll make some kind of announcement with Breath of the Wild when it comes out in 2025, and I'll buy that with the new new Switch. They inevitably. That'd be funny if that's what ended up happening with Breath of the Wild. Like, oh yeah, no, we're just gonna delay it
The
to the
Switch
next
U.
console. Yes. The Switch U.
I guarantee that's the next console name.
The Switch U new.
Yeah. The 2DS Switch new.
Yeah. All right. Anything else to say on that, Ben?
No, good announcement, Nintendo. Really looking forward to it. Looks great.
Yeah.
Really, really, really good move. Proud of you guys.
Yeah, that's like the biggest limp dick so far of the summer, I think.
Good job.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the state of play. So July 8th, that is one day. Well, actually, when this comes out, the state of play will go that
today.
day.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we know already it's gonna be 30 minutes long. There will be a Deathloop deep dive. I think they said 9 minutes is gonna be they're gonna show 9 minutes of gameplay, which I don't really know if it's necessary anymore. I don't know if they really
Same exact thought.
Yeah, like I don't even know why you would want to show off more of the game. They seem to show off a good amount of it already.
I can tell you why. I'll tell you in a little bit.
Well, yeah, and then they're gonna have a bunch of indies available, which would be kind of cool. And then the big disappointing announcement, but at least they did state that there'll be more information about that coming throughout the summer. So maybe they're trying to trickle it out. But no God of War and no Horizon and no PSVR 2. The PSVR 2, I'm not that surprised.
Yeah, me either.
Not being announced. That I don't even expect till next year, to be honest. Never really did.
Well, just some information I would expect this year, but
yeah, maybe something.
Not at this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna pull Nintendo and just like randomly release it on a Monday.
Well, that's what they did with the announcement of the device. They put out a blog post. It said this is the new PSVR.
Yeah. Great job, Sony. They're great with that stuff. Yeah. So no God of War, no Horizon, which I think obviously everybody was hoping for some kind of big announcement there. And I think after E3, I mean, we were talking about that. We were hoping for some kind of, I don't know, response in some kind of way. Doesn't seem to be the case. So again, Deathloop game looks cool. I want to play that one, but it also doesn't scream like this is a must play for me personally.
Play on PC.
Yeah. Most shooters for me are PC game. Actually, this is a slight stray away, but I was listening to Sacred Symbols earlier, and Chris Raygun had a great point about Resistance. And it's a series that hasn't been around for a while, but he said like that should have been a game that they should have ported over to PC. And I'm like, he's absolutely right. It's a first-person shooter. Like that would have been the first thing they should have ported over.
PS3 game, right?
Yeah.
Those
PS3.
are tough.
Yeah. That's probably why. Cell processor and everything.
Yeah, those are tough.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sure it's, but he's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
because you got 3 games to shoot through. But
yep, it'd be awesome. Anyway, so we're looking at Deathloop, indies, 30 minutes long, no big titles outside of that. Ben, what do you think?
Say you hit it right on the head. Why do we need to see more Deathloop? We know what Deathloop is. We got a deep dive into it. I forget what show we saw it at. Couple months ago.
I forget too.
But we saw they ran through levels. They did all kinds of stuff with Deathloop. We know what it is. What else are you going to show?
You're probably hurting it at this point.
I just don't get it. Now, the reason they're showing it is because they didn't get to at Bethesda Showcase, which they were probably planning on doing it before Microsoft bought them. So Microsoft was not going to show a competitor's game at their showcase. So now they have to get it out there somehow. They probably have some sort of PR plan to advertise this game. They didn't get their E3 slot with Bethesda. So now they're doing it here. I think Deathloop looks awesome. I don't want to see it anymore. I don't care. I know what it is. I played Dishonored. I love Dishonored 1 and 2. I know what kind of game it's going to be. I love to Prey. Bethesda makes solid games. It'll be great. Release the game. So that's 9 minutes. Let's say 10 minutes of a 30-minute showcase. So you have 20 minutes. So let's say they dedicate, 12 minutes to indies, right? So what do you do for the other 8 minutes? What are they going to show? They're not showing God of War. I thought for sure we'd get something God of War related at E3. Horizon, I'm not surprised about because they did state of play recently.
Yeah.
I got to announce something.
You don't think? I think they might have something up their sleeve. Maybe
I don't
not.
think it's gonna be big though.
It could just be a teaser trailer like they did with God of War. they have all these titles that they haven't announced. You know, that the 20 plus titles that are in the works.
Yeah, I just don't know what you show. You gotta. So I don't know if you have to hit back if you're Sony, but um, yeah,
Abandoned 10-minute reveal.
yeah. I mean, Xbox and Bethesda just slaughtered E3.
Yeah.
They had no competition. It was them and Nintendo, and they're like BFF these days.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of surprised they're limiting it to 30 minutes. This feels like a Nintendo mini direct. If they spend more than 12, 13 minutes on indies, they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, because it's like indies aren't going to sell your console.
Not that console.
Yeah, not a 4K HDR. You know,
Yeah. Indies will sell a new Nintendo Switch (parentheses OLED model in parentheses), but they won't sell PS5s.
No, I completely agree with you. It's a disappointing. I was definitely expecting to hear a little bit about God of War. Maybe it didn't even show us gameplay, but like a story trailer, something.
Yeah, not just a logo, and they have footage because they said that game was coming out this year. So everyone knew that was bullshit, obviously, but you can't just say that and not even have like concept art or a cinematic or something.
Something.
So they have a PR plan, I guess, and
I hope I do hope they surprise us a little bit. You know, they have a bunch of properties that they're working on that we don't know anything about. Do you think there's any chance we get to see Last of Us Factions?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think you're ever going to see Last of Us Factions.
You don't think it's coming out in general?
If it does, it's not going to be anytime soon. We haven't heard a peep about that. So
I know. And that and I'll talk about. Well, maybe I'll save it for the end.
If we do, it'll be along in like a PC announcement for Last of Us. So I think we're waiting a little bit.
Oh, you know what? That's a great. Maybe we're going to hear more about PC gaming. The ports, Ghost of Tsushima.
Because we'll get into that in a bit. Because they did just buy a PC port. I guess we can. Do you want to just jump into that?
Yeah. Let's get right into that.
They could announce something on PC because they just bought Nixus software. So
yep. So add that to the other. Oh my God, why is the name escaping me again? Housemarque, thank you.
And probably Bluepoint.
Yeah, and Bluepoint, which was not officially announced but leaked. So I guess let's just say, for our sake, we got 3 studio purchases, and I think that is a good move. I think we're all happy with those moves. I think that
and they're cheap.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of that is actually the investment of, hey, it's like picking up a prospect in sports, right? You're like, well, I'm going to get them in the draft, you know, before they want all this money, because these guys, they probably see potential in these studios. There'll probably be something bigger in the long run. You know, the same reason why they have Spider-Man, and, you know, they invested in these studios before they became as notable as they are today. And I think that's what we're seeing here. So that is a great response. So Nixus gets purchased. They did Deus Ex franchise, Avengers, Tomb Raider reboots.
For the PC, yeah.
Yeah, for the PC. This is also, I would say, you know, really nice. And obviously shows a commitment that they're moving towards PC, right? As you were referencing.
Well, yeah, they saw how much money they made with Horizon Zero Dawn. Was it 250% return on investment?
Yeah.
They're going to release Uncharted 4. We know that's coming. They're make the PC market is not. You're not cannibalizing the PlayStation market with PC gamers. If you're a PC gamer, you're primarily playing on PC.
Yes.
You're not going out and buying a PS4 or PS5 unless it's something insane. So you're not cannibalizing your market. And I think Xbox showed them that when they started releasing all of their stuff on PC, and it did not affect Xbox sales. No. Did not affect anything.
And not only that, they're only releasing older games. They're not.
Yeah. Days Gone got new life.
Yep.
Made buku dollars on PC, Horizon. So I think we'll start seeing a faster release. And this year, you're right. This proves that they're going in on PC. And they wouldn't buy these guys otherwise. Sorry.
Yeah. No, completely agree. Maybe that'll be something that's announced in the state of play. Maybe more commitment to PC, though. I don't know if that's really going to help them with the PlayStation fan base. So maybe that's not going to be a big part of their.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Why do you think that the PlayStation fan base is so angry about their games going to PC?
I think because it's like you feel special that you can only play their games on PlayStation. You're like, oh, I committed to your console. That's why I buy your console because I can only get your stuff here. It's like all of a sudden if like Legend of Zelda was available on PC.
Do you think people would be upset about that?
Yes.
What about when Halo was announced for PC?
Hey, but I see the thing is Xbox to me has always been PC. It's
Why?
Windows. Because
But
Windows.
but you haven't had a Halo on PC since Halo 2. And then they announced all Halo Reach, Halo 3, Halo 4, no PC. And then they announced PC and everyone's cool.
I don't feel that way. So I'm trying to figure it out just like everybody else. My thing is just exclusive. I think that they wanted the like 90-90, you can't have this type of attitude. And all of a sudden it's like, well, look, okay. The PC master race thing exists for a reason, right? Like there's a lot of hubris that comes with being a PC gamer, right? You're like, I pay less for my games. I have better graphics than you. I am probably more technical than you. A lot of times I get a better experience in the gaming market. I get to take advantage of the Steam sales, right? All that started from Steam. I think there's a hubris that comes with it. And I think PlayStation at the very least was like, well, we have our exclusives.
They sure do.
And now they're not going to have that in the same way. And I think it's like the sense of control they have over their universe. But it's a dog shit mindset, in my opinion. You got to get over it, and it's not going to last for you anyway.
Yeah. I mean, there were some dark days in PC gaming, man, when console ports would come out. PC was never the first development platform. So they would develop on like Xbox or Xbox 360, and then they'd port the game to PC, and you never knew what you were going to get. It could be straight trash. I'm trying to think of the game right now, but I remember a game came to PC and you had to use a controller. There was no keyboard mouse support at all, and it was like a shooter. And because it was a straight port from Xbox, it was like emulating an Xbox. And
I feel like
that things have changed so much in the last like 8 years with console gaming and PC gaming. You get a game comes out for consoles and PC, you're usually getting the best experience on PC.
And the reality is Microsoft forced their hand.
I think so too. I think that they said all of our games are coming to PC. We don't care if they buy an Xbox or not.
Cross buy as well.
Yep, and they're still selling all of the Xboxes they can produce. You talk about cross buy. When we bought Sea of Thieves, we bought Xbox codes.
Yep.
And we redeemed them on PC. We've been playing on PC. So
it's awesome.
I see a kind of anger from PlayStation gamers when like Horizon comes out for PC. It's like, you guys are done with this. Like we're getting your sloppy seconds. Like chill.
It's free. You got it for free. They gave it away for free at one point too on PlayStation.
It just I feel weird about it when I see this. Like if they were to announce, Last of Us Remastered, the original Last of Us Remastered coming to PC, I think that PlayStation gamers would be upset by it.
I think so too. I also think maybe that's why they're doing the remake. It'd be like, oh, it's okay. We're giving you a
different game.
Different game. A game that doesn't need
Joel's
to be remade.
a Nazi. Yeah, we're good.
I still have no idea why they're making a remake.
A whole different game.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy.
If that remake comes out before Factions, I'm going to be annoyed by that one. I'll be honest with you.
Like, get ready to be annoyed.
Yeah, because we haven't seen a thing about that game.
You're going to be annoyed.
If it's the Last of Us 2 engine, though, I'll definitely play the shit out of that online game. I love that game. All right. Anything else we need to say about that? I mean, again, my whole thing was I was hoping for God of War. But again,
the
studio purchases are nice. Maybe
I'm worried about 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's short.
Very short for an E3 rebuttal. Microsoft had 90 minutes of just game,
and like several home runs within there too.
Announcements, exclusives,
and then an unknown announcement at the end.
Game Pass. There's 2 games they showed that weren't on Game Pass.
Oh my
God. 30 minutes is a bold move. We'll see what they do. They show Uncharted 5, then maybe it'll be.
I don't even think. Do you even think we're gonna get Uncharted again?
Yeah, but it won't be called Uncharted 5.
You think? Well, you think they're gonna make? I was kind of hoping that Naughty Dog would move on to something new.
I don't know. Naughty Dog does it, but you'll get Uncharted.
Okay, fair enough.
Make too much
If
money.
they,
They're not going to toss it.
yeah, well, I just thought, they just did The Last of Us 2. They did, they did the Uncharted 4, and it's like if they make a new property, I mean, they have
I mean,
another chance to steal the show.
other people have done Uncharted games before. Lost Legacy wasn't
Right.
Naughty Dog. Golden Abyss wasn't Naughty Dog. So I mean, other people have done it. And
That's true.
without
I guess
going into how 4 ended, I mean, they have options.
yeah, I mean, they could do like a standalone like DLC type of thing too.
Yeah, different time periods, different
Yeah.
characters, like do anything.
Because Uncharted 4 was long.
It was
A little too long, I'd even argue. So it's like you don't necessarily have to release another 35-hour game or whatever. They could make a 15-hour Uncharted game and that'd be good enough.
Well, you got Bethesda coming with exclusive Indiana Jones for Xbox and PC. So it's got, I mean, the original game the original thing that's based off of
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, so I mean, you may need to hit back with something. We'll see.
Okay, PlayStation. Okay, whatever. All right, let's move on to the next one. This is I guess a pretty surprising announcement as well.
This came today, yeah.
Yeah, it just came today as we're recording this. Assassin's Creed Infinity has been announced. This is, I guess, a large change in the franchise. This is Ubisoft. I think it's Quebec and Montreal are now working on it together, which is a change for the series. And also, this seems to be a new model where they're doing like an online service model here. So they're kind of changing up the recipe to what is Assassin's Creed. Personally, this makes me even less into Assassin's Creed than I already was. Like Valhalla already gave me a limp dick at this point. And at this point, I'm thinking in my head, I guess this franchise has probably lost me personally. Hold on one second. One detail here. I think we're going to talk about ancient Greece. That's where they're basing this, right? As well. Is that what it is? Did they announce anything? Oh, no, they didn't.
No, they didn't announce anything.
Okay, they didn't. I thought I was reading our notes here and it said ancient.
Nah, they've done Greece.
Yeah. So I was going to say, I don't think they announced exactly where it's going to be.
I mean, a lot of places.
Yeah, I think it'll probably be a humongous game that they'll build over a decade is my guess. And probably be a lot of online, a lot of probably microtransactions, which I hate. And I don't know if it's still going to be single player story focused or what they're going to be doing exactly. I imagine there'll still be some story element to it. But really, I think it's just going in a direction where I care less and less about this franchise every day. How do you feel?
I love Assassin's Creed, and it's weird saying that when I have not touched Valhalla yet. I'm going to. I swear to you, I will play Valhalla. I just need to be in the right headspace for it because I put like 200 hours into Odyssey. But I think it's interesting, and I think we've always said, at least in my mind, this is kind of what we wanted. So I've always been of the mind like, hey, give me Madden football, and just every year I pay $20, or every 6 months I pay $20. You give me roster updates, a couple improvements, and it's just I own Madden, and I'm paying you a yearly subscription for the latest updates in Madden, instead of what they do every year and they release the same game. Obviously, they keep making money, so they keep doing it. Now, I think Assassin's Creed is doing that very similarly, but they're not making the money that Madden's making. They're not selling hundreds of millions of copies every year. So this is a way of them putting out a base game and then releasing the Atlantis campaign or the World War I campaign or whatever campaign that you go to, different time periods, jumping around. You're buying the invasion of Normandy time period or whatever. If it's done right and it's not riddled with microtransactions, then it sounds interesting. Did you played Odyssey? I'm sure Valhalla had the same thing where you could buy boosts and you could buy like XP boosts and potions and all kinds of shit. I
never bought any of that stuff.
Neither did I. I never needed to, but it was there.
Sure.
People were very upset by it. Did not bother me because I didn't
say that bothered me.
I never felt the need. So if that's what they're going for and they release a game and they don't charge $70 for it and then riddle it with microtransactions, then I think it could be a good move.
I think the DLC, like you're saying, will be the like they'll periodically release like a time period, like they'll have like one character, which will be like some kind of avatar character, right? You have this whole universe, and then they'll use the Animus model to bring in the DLC. Oh,
Yeah,
travel to this point, travel to that point.
Yeah, it's a good mechanism. I mean, they have the I forget the word, but the mechanism to make it believable and how you're going around all these time periods in one game. They have it there with the Animus. So there's a lot left to explore. Even like revisiting worlds you've already revisited, going back to Black Flag or going back to Syndicate, which was one of the best, most interesting Assassin's Creed games. Yeah, well, let's see. But Jason Schreier blowing up another story over on Bloomberg. He's knocking them out these days. But apparently this is 3-4 years out, and it just got leaked today. So,
well, one, that's disappointing for them. Look, I will say this: I like that they're taking a risk and that they're trying something new. That I do admire. Like that they recognize that their model is getting stale, even though they sold. I believe that Valhalla is their highest selling Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah.
And again, it's got a ton of DLC, which I think Odyssey did also, and they just keep releasing DLC for it.
Yeah.
And story. Like if you want to play all of Valhalla or Odyssey outside of buying the entire package, which I think I bought with that Odyssey for the console. I don't know why I bought it. Unnecessary.
I think it was like $6. I think I remember you asking me if it was worth it.
It was. But again, I don't know what it is, but I feel like the game just lost its luster for me. Like I actually thought that the Viking thing would get me back, but my favorite Assassin's Creed was Assassin's Creed 1.
Really?
Yeah, that was my favorite one.
You're the one, huh? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody loved 2, but I just love the simplicity of the story. It's just like the new interesting thing, the Animus. It's like the only one I really like completed, to be honest with you. Most of them I get bored before I even finish the game because I don't like the humongous map. Now this map is going to be even larger. It's probably humongous. I mean,
or it could be the opposite. So what if it's just hub worlds? You're going to, an island in ancient Greece, and that's your Greece pack, and it only takes, 8-9 hours to get through, whatever, and then you jump into your Europe in the Dark Ages map, and it's much smaller, more compact, more directed. You're only paying $10 for it, and it takes you through an 8-9 hour story. I mean,
you know what? If you position it that way, I mean, yeah, that might actually interest me a lot more.
Kind of like what Hitman did. Hitman, I guess the reboot of Hitman, where they would release this episodic stories.
Yeah.
So I think if they do it right, I think it could be interesting.
I guess I don't trust them to do it right.
Oh no!
But I like what you're saying. Having said that, I expect it to be one large release of a bunch of shit that I'll never get through, and then just periodically releasing DLC. Probably something similar, and I expect like the $70 price tag with some microtransactions that are not required, right? So they don't piss people off.
Yeah,
they're all just like additions, and then just constant DLC over 10 years.
All I ask for is an Ethernet port and an OLED screen. That's all I want. That's all I care about. Just give me that
Nintendo.
Assassin's Creed. Oh,
get it
Nintendo.
Right.
Yeah.
Get it right, Nintendo. All we want's an OLED and a $50 price point for the upgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that's pretty much it with Assassin's Creed. I don't really think there's much else to say.
No, I mean, it was a leak, so you're not going to get a lot.
Yeah. We'll hear more about it as it comes out. It's unfortunate they got leaked so early. If it's out 3-4 years in the future, it tells me that Valhalla is going to be getting more DLC, and that'll be, I know it already got announced, but they're pretty much just holding on to Valhalla and selling that game periodically. And that's probably just how they're making money is off the DLC at this point. But again, I'm so bored of Assassin's Creed. It's a shame. I used to get so excited, but every year they let me down. So maybe now that they've completely lost me and that like my interest level is as low as it can be and my expectations are so low, Yeah, for me personally. And I think that's why you might end up liking Valhalla, because the expectations for it are not like this is going to be, game
Mhm.
changing for you. And you get to play it later, where I played it at launch. That maybe it'll hit you the right way, but maybe that's like my expectation would be so low that I'll be like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. I hope that with this comes also not necessarily that they have to completely change the engine, because I think the engine's actually all right. Like the fighting
Yeah.
engine, all that stuff's fun.
Mhm.
But I hope that they do kind of elevate the engine in that respect as well. So let's hope for some changes there, and let's hope they don't screw it up, because Ubisoft is, I don't dislike them in any way, but they definitely have let me down, and Far Cry 6 doesn't really do it for me either. So all right, let's get into our last big story, and then we'll get into what we're playing. So Xbox. This is a fraud story. This is one that you know better than I do. But it's fraud began on a small scale. Xbox generated increments of from $10 to $100, something about utilizing, I guess, the system in itself against itself and employees within the company.
Dude, this is
stole up to
crazy. It's a
$10
crazy
billion.
story. One person stole $10 million.
Oh, it was only one person.
Dude, this is
you know what? Why don't
insane.
you go through this, since you have a better understanding of the story than I do?
I'll give you a basic outline of it. Give Bloomberg the click on this one, because this is some investigative reporting here. But this has gone through the court system. It's all settled. So there's no allegedly, no anything. This dude was found super guilty, like immediately.
That's a crazy amount of money.
So yeah. So this guy, I'm gonna butcher his name, but it looks like Vladimir Kovashuk. He is from the Ukraine, came over here, decided to stay, work. He's a programmer by trade or an engineer by trade, and eventually lands a job at Microsoft as a penetration pen tester almost, where he's trying to find issues with their online store.
He found the issues.
Oh, he found an issue. All right. So first of all, just want to put this in context. This dude's making $115K a year, living in Seattle as a Microsoft engineer. So his job basically was to go to the Microsoft store using these very specific burner credit cards, order things from the store, make sure there was no errors that came up when he ordered these products, like an Xbox or video cards or whatever. The store was smart enough to know when these credit cards were used, they don't actually process the shipping for the product. It goes off, and the order goes off. He reports no errors. Good to go. So one day he finds out that if he uses these burner cards that Microsoft's giving him in the system to buy Xbox gift cards or Microsoft gift cards, it spit out an actual redeemable gift card number. There's no physical good being shipped, so it gave a real alphanumeric code that could be redeemed for actual Microsoft Store money. So what do you do when you discover something like this, and it's your job to discover things like this? Do you report it to your boss? No. What he started to do was to generate these codes and resell them. So Bloomberg, I don't have let me see if I can get a citation for this. It doesn't. By Austin Carr over at Bloomberg. So I'm going to copy some quotes from here. One of his first redemptions, likely to confirm that the pilfered gift cards actually held value and that his scam would work, was for $164.99 download of Microsoft Office. So the first thing he buys is Microsoft Office. And you would think to yourself, why do you do that? Because if he gets caught, he can say it was a work purchase. I used the gift card to buy a product for work. Sorry, my bad. That's the end of it.
Yeah.
So he paid for that, waited a little bit, nothing happened. So they continue. The fraud had begun on a small scale with Xbox gift cards generated in increments from $10 to $100. By the time federal agents had caught up with him 2 years later, the value of Xbox gift cards he had stolen was worth $10.1 million. So what this guy was doing is he was generating these codes, he was not doing it under his test account. He had determined how to get into his coworkers' test accounts, use their accounts to generate these codes, routed them through multiple alternate email addresses. So it wasn't one person generating 10,000 Xbox codes or one tester doing all these codes. He was then going on a website. Let me pull that website up. This is crazy. Paxful.com. So Paxful lets you trade digital gift cards with other people in exchange for cryptocurrency. So he was going on this website and he was exchanging these gift cards for like 50% discount in Bitcoin. So he at one time he sold $30,000 worth of Xbox gift cards for 1.2 Bitcoin, 1.98 Bitcoins at the time, which was about $18,000. Obviously, it's over 100K right now, or close to 100K right now. So he's taking these gift cards in bulk, selling them to these people at a huge discount, who are then using them for some nefarious purpose, probably like further embezzlement. Takes his Bitcoin, runs it through another site, Chip Mixer. So what Chip Mixer does is it takes your Bitcoin and just gives you other cryptocurrency in exchange. So then your Bitcoin cannot be tracked. So you're paid in Bitcoin and it spits you out, 50 Ethereum, 20 Bitcoin Cash, all kinds of stuff that you can then redeem for cash. So they can't just trace this Bitcoin to you. They got to go to this place and then they got to trace Ethereum and all this stuff. So he continues doing this for years. $10 million. And the reason he got caught is because he was actually affecting the global market of gift card purchases. The third party market for gift cards would ebb and flow with as he was selling and buying. Not just that, but he bought a $1.6 million house. He bought a Tesla, all kinds of stuff, living off of a salary of $115,000. Filed faulty tax returns saying he was gifted all of this Bitcoin. Even after these test accounts he was using to generate these codes got disabled because Microsoft was looking into this, he opened a new test account and continued to do this, further generating more codes. So yeah, he within a day of Microsoft blocking one of account, he generated another $1.6 million worth of Xbox gift cards. So this is not a smart person.
Catch if you can style.
And going along with him not being, I found this quote particularly funny. Friends remember him as a clever but average student. Report card shows he received a C in finance and a D in risk management. So
school wasn't his thing. Let's not say that made him stupid. Neither one of us.
Clearly, he should have paid more attention in risk management. After your first million, you got away with it. Maybe you just walk away.
Yeah. Or so when you're being investigated, you don't double down and.
Yeah, exactly. So they raided his house. They found like ledgers with the amount of money he was stealing, unused gift card numbers. Eventually, this got to such a point that he had written code that was automating this process, generating the codes and listing them on the site for sale. So he didn't have to do anything, basically. This is wild. That's
crazy. That's honestly crazy that he took it to that level. Man, I mean, like, you already have a pretty good life. You'd think he would have stopped when he was like, all right, I can buy a house with this. I'm good.
Came from a Ukraine, didn't know how to have a wealthy upbringing. He did okay. I mean, his family wasn't poor by any means, but you come over here, you get a great job, working for Microsoft, making six figures.
He was relatively young, right? He was in his 20s.
20s.
So could have made a lot more over time. Probably could have tripled his salary eventually.
So he got 9 years in jail. He has to pay back until he's deported back to the Ukraine. Yes. Afterwards,
Ukraine won't care. They're pretty corrupt. They won't
Yeah,
care.
I don't know about
He'll
that,
probably just
but
pay his way out if he has any money. He'll probably do
well,
it.
he has to pay a restitution of $8.3 million as well.
That's it?
So
Not
yeah,
all of it?
I think that's all he's got
Well, they
left.
say, well, some of it he earned.
Yeah, yeah,
We like some of this code work. We're going to take that for
yeah. I
ourselves.
mean, he did find a bug. It's worth something.
That's what his lawyers argued.
Oh, his lawyers argued some crazy shit. His lawyers argued that he actually committed no crime because these gift cards are not actual currency. So they're
Oh,
saying he
right.
never actually stole any real money.
Oh, right.
That did not hold. But
No, I
yeah,
don't.
dude, this is a crazy story. I recommend everyone go over to Bloomberg, read this story. This is an awesome piece of reporting. It is a huge article, old school reporting. Um, Great article by Austin Carr. I don't know anything else about him, but it's a great write up.
Too bad it's
Very,
not one
very
of.
objective. Very
It's
just
not.
facts.
Is it going to turn into a movie one day?
Probably. I mean, you're at least going to get some kind of documentary about this. This is
Yeah.
insane.
Wow. That's a very convoluted story and amazing that they pulled all that together. It is honestly kudos to Bloomberg on that one.
And the FIS
Um,
team, the the Microsoft investigative team,
yeah, they found them.
they're the fraud investigation strike team, the FIST team.
Well, they fisted him off the ass in the end.
They sure he's definitely enjoying himself right now.
Oh man. So you said he got 9 years in jail? Is that what you said?
9 years, $8.3 million restitution. At the conclusion of his 9 years, he's getting deported to the Ukraine.
He's gonna get out early.
Maybe.
They're gonna use him in the Ukrainian government. Dude, that guy's gonna get a job. It's gonna be Catch Me If You Can all over again.
Maybe. Yeah. But I mean, like,
He's clearly not stupid.
He's not a no, but he's not a genius. I mean, if you read the article, I mean, everyone at this place, he did not stand out. He was not he's not a star programmer, not anything. He just stumbled upon this glitch.
Yep.
And knew enough to take advantage of it, but not enough to completely cover his tracks, obviously.
Mark Cuban said, I had 1,000 bad ideas. I had one good one.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean,
yeah.
If he was as a genius that could make this kind of money on his own, he would have done it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. So yeah, good luck to him in jail, and I hope you don't get fucked in the ass too hard. But to some degree,
unless you're into that, then enjoy yourself.
Well, maybe he might be into it. He might be into it. Honestly, yeah, crazy story. And I guess kudos to Microsoft for catching him because
yeah, I mean,
probably would have hurt their division. I mean, it wouldn't hurt their company overall, but
no, but I mean, you're devaluing your currency basically. If you can buy Xbox gift cards for,
well, people will lose their jobs over that too. Because if you're screwing with their gift card, they're going to blame it on other people within your company, and then they're going to take the hit for you. So
yeah.
Well, fuck him, and good luck to you and America. I don't know what else to say. Well, whatever. All right, so that's it for the news. Let's get into what we're playing, Ben, and then we'll get into our game recommendation. I just changed mine actually because I
saw that.
All right, so I'll go first, and then let's just save Sea of Thieves. We'll both talk about that. So I actually just finished Last of Us 2 again for the second time. I'm a little upset that I'm finishing it though because there's probably going to be like a director's cut again that's going to come out of something. But I will say that it's a brilliant game. I enjoyed it just as much the second time as I did the first time, and while it is a painful game to play and emotionally, it just hits it. The fuckery that they play with you emotionally is necessary to get the impact from the story that you need. It does kind of leave me going like, well, I hope spoiler alert here. I hope that the ending doesn't just involve like Ellie. Or not the ending. The next one doesn't involve like Ellie. I hope it involves like the baby maybe to some degree. To see him growing up maybe. But it's a brilliant ending. The game, I beat on PS5 this time. It ran beautifully. It plays beautifully. It's just a great game. It just really is a great game. So just finish that. And if you haven't played it and you got it and you were turned off by some of the online shenanigans, ignore all of that shit and play the game. It's absolutely worth it. Now I started replaying Final Fantasy VII Remake. I put like probably 5 hours in it so far. That game on PS5 looks absolutely stunning. Gorgeous, gorgeous game. And I know that they're going to do the PC release or whatever they're going to do. I'm sure it's going to look just as beautiful there, if not even more. I didn't get to the DLC yet. I'll probably play that down the line. I'm just interested in refinishing the game. It's a little jarring to go from the realism. This is what happened with Ghost of Tsushima, to go from the realism of Last of Us 2, because it's such a refined game. But again, like Final Fantasy VII's got me hooked again. And I'm just addicted to the RPG elements of that game. They just do it. It's just like the best Final Fantasy game I've ever played personally. So I love that. And then I'm picking up Skyward Sword July 16th. I'm excited to play that, but I'm going to be playing that. I'm going to Israel soon. So that's going to be my game to play, is that. And I'll be playing Switch games probably for next month. So I'll have more to say on that when, when we do an episode from when I'm overseas.
Yep.
And then we'll go into Sea of Thieves last, but Ben, you want to go into,
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much to put in here because I spent a lot of my solo time playing Sea of Thieves. But yeah, Days Gone, I'm still chugging through it. It's a long game. I love the story. I love the atmosphere. I'm getting better weapons. I'm ready to take on some hordes. I don't have too much unique to say about it. They released a new patch that fixed some PC problems, weird things that I was surprised they actually fixed. Like there was a weird shimmer that the motorcycle was putting out when you were driving the rain, and they fixed that, which is shocking, but I'm glad they did. Yeah, Days Gone, and then Sea of Thieves. Even without you, when I have free time, I'm playing solo, baby.
Yeah,
solo on the sloop. I'm slooping it.
So let's get into Sea of Thieves. So Ben and I have been playing Sea of Thieves. Purchased it at the same time. We got some other people. I convinced another person to purchase it. Actually, 2 other people. I think we got playing with us. We haven't played with a crew of. Well, we played once with a crew of 4, which was awesome.
That was Tokyo Drift, man.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, we'll have footage of this playing obviously in the background. I'll edit that in there later. But we played together in various different ways. That game is a blast.
It's so fun.
Dude, I honestly found myself thinking about it today. I was playing Final Fantasy. I was like, I kind of feel like playing Sea of Thieves. I think it's a really difficult game to play alone.
I can attest to that.
Yeah. Though my buddy Richie plays it alone, which is insane. He's been playing alone for a while and he loves that game. But I will say that as a co-op element to having to navigate the ship, somebody steers, you got to refill the management of managing your ship and, having to go and get supplies and then going out for the battles and, the risk reward of going for things and the potential of losing everything you've done. And just exploring brought this up all the time. The water is like the best water I've ever seen in a game. Just really gorgeous. And there's just so much atmosphere and personality in this game, and the gameplay is good enough to be fun and tight. The fighting is extremely rewarding, and the management of having to keep your ship alive while also trying to take the other ship down is really awesome. It makes it 10 times more intense, where you're like taking water out, and filling up the wood, or using the wood to close the holes in your ship. And then desperately looking for ammo. And then obviously we had that scenario where you and I were playing.
We ran out of ammo. Yeah,
taking on 3 different ships. We took down 2 of them. And then we ran out of ammo. And then I think you were at one point trying to jump on the ship to steal ammo.
I did jump on. I stole all their ammo. We used it.
Yeah. And that was I think when me and you were playing, we had that battle. And obviously I was enjoying it before that. But that was when I was like, okay, this game is amazing. Do you want to add anything, Ben?
Yeah, no, like when we played on a 2-person sloop, that was an awesome battle. 3 versus 1. We took down 2 ships. It's just crazy. Yeah, hectic battle. we were jumping over to the other team. We'd die. We'd come back to our ship, and it would be like half underwater. We'd be like bucket, 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 throwing buckets over the side, nailing holes in the walls while they're shooting at us. And um, oh my god, it was so fun. And yeah, we got to a point where we're like, how do we beat these guys? And I think I was gonna try and go over and steer their ship into a rock. And then when I got killed, and when we came back, the ship was too far gone.
The
Because
enemies kept regenerating on the ship too, right?
well, I mean, we come back too,
Yeah.
but I thought it was really interesting that they weren't shooting cannons at us anymore after we stole all of their ammo. So it wasn't like they were getting like magic cannonballs from somewhere because they're the AI, which was a nice touch. I mean, it would have been nice because we could have stolen more, but if we had
It was a bigger ship too.
it was three bigger ships. Yeah, if we would have actually stopped for supplies before we decided to do that, it was getting late. And we're like, yeah, let's just take on some ships.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I tried playing solo. I ran into a lot more players playing solo, like actual humans. I was
Purpose.
yeah, I told you about I was pulling up to this island to do a mission. I'm like raising my sails. I'm about to drop anchor, and then cannonballs go sailing over my head. And I'm like, oh, it's like, what the fuck? I look around, this guy's like closing on me. I'm like, all right, bro. Like, not even going to say hi. All right, let's roll. And it's about a half hour that he was clearly solo as well. And we're just circling each other, trading shots. Eventually, like, he got the best of me. I had him dead to rights at one point, and I tried to get cute with it and take out his masts to board him. I should have just ended him. And yeah, it was fun. And GG at the end. And
It's a deeper game than you realize. Like even the harpoons that you can shoot onto like the ships to like kind of anchor yourself onto the other ship and kind of have that type of one-on-one sword battle. And like when we had the 4 guys on the ship, we'd like send people on to fight, and then we'd have people like kind of upkeeping the ship. But then we also dealt with like the volcano where like our ship oh my god, our ship kept getting burnt up, and then the water gets hotter and kills you, so you can't even fall in the water. It's just there's so many layers built into this game that are not apparent at first, that you have to learn just by like kind of trial and error. But I think it's what makes it fun, because they give you a lot of like leeway, right? Like if you fall in the water, you find a mermaid, you get your way back on. You die, you respawn, you come back on your ship. You lose everything, you still get your ship back and all the stuff that you did have and all your upgrades. Well, there's no upgrades, but all your skins and stuff, you get to keep that. But all the money that you could have earned or any unique weaponry, that's gone. Right. So they have it where it's like you're always wanting to get more. Like when we die, you don't feel like deflated by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You desperately want to get back in.
Yeah, it's like, oh damn! It's not like a rage quit kind of thing. It's like like we almost had that.
Yes,
and there's like,
go ahead. No, sorry.
Yeah, no, there's some like crazy moments. Like I keep talking about Tokyo Drift. Like,
yeah,
we have footage of this where we're fighting this one big galleon, and we were on a smaller ship, and I think we were on a brig at the time. I don't know what kind of ship we were on, but may have been a galleon. This ship's got us. It's behind us. Like it's got us. Like we can't outturn it. And I'm like, yo, everyone on the cannons. And Oren's like, what do you mean? I'm like, he's steering. I'm like, on the cannons, everyone get on the port side.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm throwing down the anchor. Like everyone fire as soon as we turn. I throw down the anchor. We stop, but we turn. All cannons are facing the ship. Everyone just unloads on this ship at a time. It wasn't enough, but we hit it like 15, 16 times.
Yeah.
In that one barrage. And it was just awesome. Cause I'm like, I wonder if this is like going to work.
And it did.
Yeah, it did. It did exactly what we wanted to do. It's just we didn't finish it off.
Yeah, it's a deeper game than you realize. Like even like the management of the sails, the management of the anchor, and like when you have a smaller ship, the anchor comes up quicker and it's a faster ship, and just like they make it's balanced enough that if you have a small ship and you're good enough at the game and you're good enough at coordinating, that you can take down bigger ships, or you can get away from them. And there's so much like mystery built into the world, right? They use like the environment to like lure you into going places, right? Like they use the clouds and lighting. We're always like, oh, it's like Breath of the Wild does that too, right? Where you kind of stare into the distance, go, oh, what's out there? This game does a great job of doing that. And I think we've only explored like a pretty small amount of the map. Like I don't think we've seen everything the map has to offer.
Yeah, we've stayed kind of on the eastern area, but we go where the clouds take us, man.
Yeah, and we didn't even touch the story stuff, right? The new Pirate's Life stuff.
No, we don't even know how to play the game yet. We can't be touching that stuff.
No,
but it's things like that. I watched a YouTube video of this guy. They're sailing. They were fighting a couple of the ships, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna do we're gonna harpoon turn around this rock, and they're like, will that work? They go next to this rock. They shoot with the harpoon. It swings the ship around the rock.
That's awesome.
And they're going right at the guy. Like that's the kind of shit. They're like, I guess it worked.
Yeah. And that's the type of, I mean, I will say, like, you know me, I don't really like online games. And this game, I find myself thinking about it.
Oh, I would love to play against. I mean, I don't want to play against some of these YouTubers that really know the game, but a crew like us that's just fucking around. And
well, we can get Richie on one of the games. He could probably teach us some more stuff to do.
Yeah, I mean, he's only as good as we're holding him back, but like
honestly, I don't think it'll be a problem because
let's have him steer.
Well, the game is so well balanced that there's no like leveling up, there's no elite weaponry, right? So it's really just about your understanding of the game. And if he's like, you were kind of directing us to do stuff, and then we kind of just found our place. Like, you know what I mean? Like Oren was steering most of the time. And we're kind of just navigating. Yeah. And I was kind of just doing all the utility.
You're dropping the anchor in the middle of the ocean with nobody around.
Every time. But by the end, I was doing it perfectly.
Yeah. No, you hit that anchor exactly when we told you to.
Yeah. Now I got the anchor down. But sincerely, there's a lot to manage there, right? Like even if you're up top, like navigating and all of a sudden we get hit or we hit a rock, somebody's got to run downstairs and fix the ship, and then you got to have enough supplies in there. You got to have enough food. So you have to explore the islands too. Like they don't, it's not like the type of game where you just get in your ship and just start blowing people up. There is a journey to each time you play the game. Though I will say, I don't think the game is really meant to be played by yourself, at least from what I can tell. Like
definitely not. And I think that's what a lot of the problem was when it first came out. I mean, this is not the same game as when it released. So this is like was it a 4-year-old game or a 3-year-old game?
Yeah, gotta be.
So I mean, we're playing like a No Man's Sky level, changed, upgraded, fixed, expanded version of this game.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of problems at launch, but especially with missions and variety and stuff.
If we didn't record so late, I'd want to play tonight.
Maybe tomorrow.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah. I've always wanted to get divorced before my second kid. So maybe we'll play tomorrow.
We'll get her on, dude. We need a fourth.
She plays what's that cooking game?
Overcooked.
Overcooked. Yeah, we play Overcooked, which may cause us some more problems.
I was gonna say, isn't that cause a divorce?
Give me the fucking pepperoni. I said pepperoni. Why are you throwing lettuce at me?
I actually have heard that. Actually,
oh my god.
Oren used to play that with his ex, Overcooked.
Yeah, I'm just like, get the fire. You're burning the burgers. Get the fire extinguisher. You burn the burgers. Now the kitchen's on fire. Is that what you wanted? Is that what you wanted the kitchen to be on fire? Okay, congratulations.
Sounds like a wife abuser from the 1950s.
Yeah, mission's accomplished. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad. I like to be in fire.
To the moon. One day to the moon. All right.
Sea of Thieves. Yeah. So
play Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves is great.
Yeah, definitely play it. It's probably super cheap. I mean, we got it through a third-party site, but it's got to be what, $20 probably.
I think it's the thing. I don't think
$30.
Game Pass, man. One of the people we were playing with was playing on Game Stream.
Oh yeah. My buddy Aaron was playing on the Game Stream.
Yeah, he played on cloud gaming, which is awesome. We had no real problems.
And his connection stinks, and he was still able to
does
play.
It? Hey,
yeah. Well, he's got 10 megabytes a second. This guy works in IT.
Maybe it's all he's got. Not everyone's got the gig.
He's got the gig. He's got the gig for it.
So I talked to my friend Brandon. I'm like, you're paying $1 for Game Pass, and you're playing with us sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like $1, and you get stream the game online with a phone.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, goddamn Game Pass, dude. Fucking Xbox, killing it. All right, let's move on to the last segment of the show. This is our game recommendations. I'll go first. So I changed mine right before this because I think I already brought up the last game that I had on here. But I put down Jade Empire. And this was just an incredibly unique game. This is a BioWare game back when BioWare was BioWare as we used to know it. This is was it after Mass Effect 1, I believe? Or was it before?
Yes.
It was after.
It may have been before, actually.
Might have been before and after I know it's after
It's definitely after KOTOR.
And this is a Kung Fu game. I mean, I guess Ghost of Tsushima is a game that's kind of like it in some kind of way.
Before Mass Effect. It was between the two.
Before. And this has like a Kung Fu RPG system. This is just a really goddamn cool game. And that is a game that they should remake, to be honest with you. You don't even need to make a sequel. If you could remake this game, I don't know how it would sell because it's kind of unique. But it was so cool. Just so many cool like elements as far as like big old fantasy world that takes all this like Japanese, Chinese, I think it's Japanese culture. Is it Japanese or Chinese? Chinese. Sorry. Yeah. It's Chinese culture in, and just puts like a fantasy spin on all of this. And they have all these fighting styles involved. And just good RPG elements, a great weird story, but also is very enjoyable story. You get to have the crew. It's their first take in live action, kind of going from KOTOR's like kind of action, actually having like, more of a button mashing type of style where you actually utilize combos and stuff. Just a really awesome game. And there's not really a lot like it. It didn't sell that well, I think is the problem. But it was a great game. Like without a doubt, was well regarded through reviews. So if you didn't get to play it back in the day, I know it's available for PC. I have it on PC. It's probably part of Game Pass, isn't it?
I would assume so, but I
think it might be. I know the Epic Store gave it to me for free, I believe. I know I own a copy of it.
It's $3 on Steam. So even if it's not,
oh, there you go, $3. Easily worth the $3 for sure, even if you just play it for a couple hours.
So and it's part of EA's All Access. So if you have Game Pass Ultimate, then you get EA All Access. So roundabout way, it's part of Game Pass.
Okay, cool. So Jade Empire, I would definitely recommend it. Ben, I know you played it as well.
I did. I found memories of that game. I only played it once. I know I liked it
twice.
Yeah, I mean, I have very fond memories of it very back in the day.
Yeah. It gets weird. The story gets weird, but
I don't remember the story. I remember the gameplay. I remember the combos.
Maybe it's time to replay
the magic. I don't know if it's gonna hold up, but I'll try it.
It holds up better than you. I played it recently, actually. So
I actually played it on PC. See, I played it on Xbox. Maybe I should play it on PC.
That's what I'm saying. I played it on PC recently, and it doesn't hold up in the same sense that it's like it's. I would say it holds up better than you realize. The fighting style in it holds up, like the actual mechanics. So I would recommend. And again, I don't know if you own it at this point, Ben, but
I do. I own it. And there's a lot of texture packs and updates on Nexus mods.
Oh, that's
UI overhauls.
I would want to do that actually.
Yeah, a lot of looks like the modding community is thriving.
Because that's a game I would imagine that like I said, it's very unique. There's nothing really out there like it, especially in the RPG realm. So I think if EA honestly, like the more I think about it, that would be an amazing remake or even just a remaster. Take what the modding community has done, package it up, sell it as a $20 game, a $30 game, to see if there's interest in making a sequel. But I don't think they should make a sequel. I really think they should remake the game. There's enough story. Nobody played this thing. Like nobody talks about it like they played it. So I think a remake of this game would be really, really cool. I don't know if the PC world today wouldn't get offended by it. And I mean, politically correct world, not PC gaming.
Aspire, sorry to interrupt you. Aspire did the iOS and Android port.
Oh, right. I have it for iOS as well.
And they're currently doing that KOTOR remake as well. So maybe. Yeah, maybe there's something there.
KOTOR will sell like hotcakes, though, the remake. Whether it's good or not, it'll probably still sell well. All right, Ben, you're up.
Mine's a PC game, specifically, and a very niche PC game, but it's called Sins of the Solar Empire. More specifically, some of the mods that are out for Sins of the Solar Empire. But Sins of the Solar Empire is a game I played back in the day when alphas were actually alphas and the game was janky as shit and they needed testers. And I played this game by Rebellion, and it's like a real-time strategy mixed with 4X strategy games like Civilization, huge galaxy, different planets. You colonize different worlds, you explore. I mainly did the combat, but you can win without combat. You can, well, not maybe not without any combat, but you can win by like economic victories by starving your opponents from resources or setting up blockades. And
That's cool.
Yeah, it's similar to the StarCraft model with three different races. Each one has pros and cons. Some are better at combat, but weaker in economics. They get less money by extracting resources, all kinds of stuff. But the reason that I keep coming back to Sins of a Solar Empire after so long is the mods. The mods are insane for this game. If you're into anything sci-fi related, you'll find a mod. Mass Effect. There's a mod that changes the entire game into Mass Effect everything, and it's not just skins; it's the entire game, characters, races, massive. Star Trek Armada 3. So Star Trek Armada 2 are two real-time strategy games I grew up with. I still remember being over Sam Lee's house playing Armada 2 with the Borg cube, capturing a Borg cube, and it being like the craziest moment ever to us back in the day in I guess middle school. Hey Sam, he's down in Georgia, I think. So they basically took Sins of the Solar Empire, these modders, and created Star Trek Armada 3. And it is, in every sense of the word, Star Trek Armada 3. All the races are recreated, all the ships, all the models, sound effects, everything, warp effects, everything's recreated in this game from the shows. And I'm a big Star Trek fan, and I'll just go in there and I'll play, Klingons versus Federation, and it'll take like 6-7 hours to get through a big galaxy or a big solar system. You can do multiple stars, which becomes longer when there's two teams and each one of you controls like 40 planets. So you got to work your way around each star and taking over these planets one by one. Great game, cheap. There's a lot of DLC that came out for, a lot of expansions. I hope they do something else. I don't think we'll see a Sins of the Solar Empire 2. I don't think we need to see that because the game's so beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah. Halo, Stargate, Star Trek, all kinds of mods.
That's so cool. And yeah. That sounds like a fantasy. You know what I mean? You get to apply you get to apply a mod to turn this game into any strategy game you essentially want. Yeah,
whatever it is. So the mods, looking right here, Star Trek Armada, Sins of the Prophets, which is a Halo mod, which turns it into Covenant versus USNC.
Halo
Dawn of the Reapers, which is a Mass Effect mod. Mm-hmm. There's a couple Star Wars ones. Free Space, which is a old school space game. Babylon 5, Stargate, like the list goes on. Anything involving space that you've ever seen.
Firefly.
Fall of Cobol, which is a Battlestar Galactica mod. So yeah, it's all here.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
Yes.
Sorry. That was the Office reference.
Oh, I know what it was from.
Well, that sounds dope. And I feel like our game recommendations are pretty good because
I try for deep cuts.
Yeah. Stuff that's why I changed the last game I had on there was Metro Last Light. And I was like thinking about like Metro because we saw Stalker and it reminded me of Metro quite a bit.
I don't think you brought up Metro last time.
Well, I brought up Exodus. We talked about Exodus last time.
That's a great game too.
Yeah, but that's why I was kind of like, I said it was relevant to bring up Metro Last Light, but whatever. I'll recommend Metro Last Light. Also, more linear
Metro games.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I didn't ever play 2033.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You played Last Light?
I played Last Light.
You played 2033.
Yeah, that's kind of why I never went back to play it. Yeah. I didn't think it was really necessary. Last Light just filled me in everything I needed. And
story.
Yeah,
2033 story is pretty badass.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Because Last Light's story was awesome. I really enjoyed that game.
Yeah.
I beat that game twice, actually. It was worth it. All right, so play that as well. All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Those of you guys who make it to the end, we did it in an hour 30, so not too bad, Ben. Please like, subscribe, share our stuff out if you can. It helps us a lot. Definitely subscribe if you can as well. It helps with recommendations. Hit that like button as well. It totally helps us. We're going to keep doing these. I'm going to keep growing this out. Eventually, we're going to have guests. We've been talking about it, but we're just slow. It's just going to take us a while. We're busy people.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. All right, Ben, anything else to send off our listeners?
No, you always ask me that, and I always think I should have something, but I got nothing. We'll see you guys next week. More Sea of Thieves. We will sink the pirates this time.
Dude, I want to play right now, man.
I do, but I got a meeting in the morning. I need to sleep.
Yeah, dude, I have 3 meetings from the very beginning. I wake up tomorrow.
Yeah, no.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Remember to always play on gamers.